Hello and welcome, beloveds, to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. MumbiSeraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are moving into living life truly on your own terms. We want to thank everybody that supports us on our Patreon and our PayPal accounts. It really enables us to continue bringing the news from across Africa, bringing the truth of what's happening from across Africa. As you know, it's not just us, but many, many truthers out there are facing an epic narrative war. Epic censorship is ongoing right now, but those are definitely stories for other days. Now, a very interesting story coming out of the divided states where the Africa Command, it's known as the U.S. Africa Command, or AFRICOM, that's the name that's most popular, is planning to move its headquarters out of Germany. Now, there seems to be some, I don't know what the beef is between Germany and the divided states, or should I say between Merkel and Trump. I told you guys there's an epic secret society war going on, and so none of these things should be taken lightly between the nationalists and the globalists, and none of them have our best interests of heart, because at the very top of that pyramid, none of them look like you and I, and they would come together so fast, to if there was an uprising of the people. So really it's like, birds of the same feather, kind of, siblings. They're like siblings, but the siblings who rule the world are at war, if you want to look at it at that. And basically the divided states is moving 12,000 troops out of Germany, and they had been stationed there since the end of World War II, after Hitler, etc., etc. So they've literally had this military occupation. But Germany was actually very sad to see them go, because they used to bring a lot of money to the economy. They had a huge base, and and also they provided a lot of security. But Trump has said, he's withdrawing them, and then he said, the U.S. Africa Command has been told to plan to move. While it will likely take several months to develop options, consider locations, and come to a decision, the command has started the process. And it was the move of the command. Basically, they used to run their Africa military operations from Germany, and Germany was where they also ran their European Union military operations. This is significant, beloveds. This is so epic. I can't even tell you enough of how it is. And the location of AFRICOM has actually been a long source of debate. The Africa Command was actually started in 2007 by then President George W. Bush. So it can, it was part of the globalist order, and the idea was floated to set up the headquarters somewhere in Africa, but that brought a lot of political backlash on the continent. And when I read that, because I read this from an African daily and then also from a European daily, and it was just like, sometimes we think Africa ain't standing up and Africa ain't doing what needs to be done, but so much happens on the ground. But because we're not the ones telling our story, sometimes our wins and our victories and our defiance is lost in translation. And so, the U.S. government back then, George W. Bush, they approached several different, African states to ask them to host the nation, but many were afraid of the political backlash from their citizens, as well as becoming targets of the ISIS and Al Qaeda's of this world. And that is why the decision, was taken to base the Africa Command in Europe, and it reflected basically a massive, widespread unwillingness among African nations to serve as its host. Huge, huge. And, ironically, Liberia, which was founded by freed slaves in 1847, was the only sub-Saharan state that publicly offered to house Africa. But it didn't come to pass. Many African leaders privately expressed, concern that their countries could become the targets of armed groups aiming to attack U.S. interests and installations. And even till today, there is no real express interest by any African nation to host AFRICOM. So they're running their military operations from outside of Africa, which I guess is a good thing, because if they had that base, that would be like neo-colonial. But let me know what you think. In a way, I was really proud of how how our people have responded. And, the initial rollout of AFRICOM was actually, this is John Campbell, a former US ambassador to Nigeria. He wrote in a blog that the initial rollout of AFRICOM was ham-fisted and involved minimal and hurried consultations with African governments that precluded the natural development of an African constituency for it, which would have taken time and careful cultivation. I mean, they use such complicated words. So basically, they put AFRICOM together very quickly. Although, some of these things have been planned for decades, and then the implementation looks like it's haphazard, but Kumbe, it's something that's been in the works for a while. And AFRICOM maintains liaison offices in 38 African countries. And I'm telling you, that's more than 70% of the African nations. Most African countries actually have a foreign military occupation, which is why the presidents can't be too outspoken when they're standing up for their people. But very interesting news. This is big. This is big. This is one of those indicators. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, tuko pamoja. Hello and welcome to Africa Watch on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. MumbiSeraki. How you doing? How's everything going? Thanks to every single person that has subscribed to the channel. Thanks to all the people who support us through our PayPal and our Patreon. I appreciate each and every one of you. You've really made it possible for us to increase our programming, to increase our research, and to just be able to, to air more shows. So I appreciate each and every one of you. And to air the shows, whether it's controversial or not looking at whether it will make money on YouTube, but looking at spreading the news that needs to be shared with our global African nation. So much is happening on the continent. I told you guys, I talked a lot last year about the scramble, the neo-scramble for Africa. We saw, Trump came up with his strategy for Africa called Prosper Africa. We also saw the EU had a high-level meeting in December. Not a lot of people talking about it, but it was really significant. Museveni wasn't invited. Please check out the shows. I'll definitely attach them as well at the end of this video, where the EU had also launched their major plan for Africa, where they said, without Africa, the EU destiny is gone. EU will die, literally, and EU is totally dependent on, the EU is totally dependent on Africa. And you know what's so sickening is they were talking about how, we have a shared past and a bright future. They've never apologized for slavery or colonialism. What are our presidents doing? Anyway, I said it already. I said everything I needed to say about that. But now what is happening, and the latest thing, is that foreign armies are recruiting Africans in earnest. And I'm talking about from the US Army to the French Army to the British Army. In fact, the British Army, and I talked about this last year, have changed their rules. They've changed their recruitment rules so that they can hire more Africans and basically more people from the diaspora. We've seen the French also. They've gone into overdrive in hiring Africans. So now there's something called the French Legion, and it's been recruiting foreigners all the way since 1831. And so they have people from Algeria, Tunisia, Madagascar, West Africa, Chad, DRC, Central African Republic, Gabon, Rwanda, Somalia, Republic of Congo, Ivory Coast, Mali, and Sahel. And these are the countries where the French also recognize that lives have been lost, soldiers have been lost from these nations. But they have been recruiting these for so long. And basically what it is in France is like, as long as you get into the French country, into France. Anyway, as long as you get into France and you make it to their army recruiting office, they take you in, and you're a young male, virile, they'll take you in and they'll train you, and and then you'll get accelerated French citizenship. So the French have started doing this. We saw the UK first now said that, you don't even have to be a resident of the United Kingdom. You don't even have to ever have visited Great Britain. As long as you're a member of the Commonwealth and you're young and you want to join their army, they're willing to hire you. But now what's happened is actually the US has also come out very strongly. And thanks to the subscriber that sent me this information, this is really, really valuable. And what it says is that the US Army is recruitment of non-citizens and anyone who can translate African languages into English for Army intelligence. So what they're looking for, because they're saying they need to protect their assets across Africa. And so they're doing a special recruitment for African translators and linguists, basically. So, and interpreters. So this also really surprised me because Agikoyo was on this list and I was like, so basically there's 18 major tribes that the Americans are targeting. The Hausa, the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Fula, the Mande, the Kru, Mel, Gola, Swahili, Kikuyu, or Agikoyo, Luya, Luo, Twi, Ga, Iwe, Creole, Shona, and the Dembele. So those are the major translators and interpreters that they're looking for, people who can speak these languages. And if you look at it, these are the significant tribes across the continent. These are the movers and shakers, and some would say troublemakers. Revolutionaries often come from these these various communities. So what is up with this? And the saddest thing is that our young men and women, because unemployment is high, they've been made to think the West is all that, they will actually go and apply for these jobs to sell out their people.